Port Charles was already drowning in tension, but nothing could have prepared Alexis for the shocking truth Trina and Kai were finally ready to reveal. For days, both of them had been carrying the weight of a secret so disturbing that it changed the way they looked at everyone around them. Every conversation felt forced, every smile felt fake, and every moment of silence only made the pressure harder to bear. Trina especially struggled with the emotional burden. She had always believed honesty was the right path, but this situation felt different. The truth they uncovered had the power to destroy lives, shatter relationships, and expose dangerous secrets that certain people in Port Charles desperately wanted hidden forever. Kai noticed how exhausted Trina had become. She barely slept, constantly replaying recent events in her mind, trying to convince herself there had to be another explanation. But no matter how hard she tried, the evidence continued pointing toward the same horrifying conclusion. And now they had no choice but to tell Alexis everything. Late one evening, Trina and Kai arrived at Alexis's house looking visibly shaken. Alexis immediately sensed something was wrong. She invited them inside, but the uneasy expressions on their faces made her heart race with concern. Alexis had seen fear before, but what she saw in Trina's eyes felt far more serious. Before anyone spoke, silence filled the room. Trina's hands trembled as she struggled to find the right words. Kai stood beside her, trying to remain calm, but even he could barely hide his anxiety. Alexis asked if someone was hurt, but Trina quietly explained that the situation was much worse than that. What they discovered involved people Alexis trusted. The atmosphere instantly changed. Alexis listened carefully as Trina began explaining how everything started with what seemed like a harmless coincidence. A few days earlier, Trina and Kai accidentally overheard a private conversation while meeting someone near the Metro Court. At first, they thought it was just another heated disagreement between business associates, but then certain names were mentioned, along with details connected to recent events that had already caused concern throughout Port Charles. The deeper they listened, the more alarming the conversation became. Trina explained that the people involved were discussing secret payments, manipulated evidence, and efforts to cover up information tied to a major scandal. Even worse, they mentioned Alexis directly, suggesting she unknowingly possessed information capable of exposing everyone involved. Alexis struggled to believe what she was hearing. At first, she assumed Trina and Kai must have misunderstood the situation, but then Kai presented proof that changed everything. He revealed he had secretly recorded part of the conversation after realizing how serious it sounded. When Alexis heard the recording herself, her expression completely changed. The voices were unmistakable. One of the individuals involved was someone Alexis never suspected. Shock washed over her instantly. As the recording continued, the conversation became even more disturbing. The people speaking discussed plans to manipulate legal outcomes, silence witnesses, and pressure anyone who came too close to discovering the truth. Alexis realized this was not just gossip or political drama. This was a dangerous conspiracy with consequences reaching far beyond a single conflict. Trina admitted they debated whether to come forward at all. Both of them feared retaliation if the wrong people discovered they overheard the conversation. But staying silent became impossible once they realized Alexis herself might be a target. That revelation left Alexis speechless. For the first time, she began understanding why several strange incidents had occurred recently. Missing files, mysterious warnings, and suspicious behavior from certain individuals suddenly started making sense. Pieces of a much larger puzzle were finally falling into place. Meanwhile, word quietly spread throughout Port Charles that something serious was unfolding behind closed doors. People noticed Alexis becoming increasingly distracted and tense. Friends who attempted speaking with her sensed she was hiding something significant, though no one yet understood the full truth. Elsewhere, Trina privately worried they may have already made a terrible mistake by revealing the secret. She feared whoever was involved might discover the recording existed. Kai shared the same concern, especially after noticing unfamiliar cars parked near his apartment over the last few days. Someone was watching. That realization terrified both of them. Alexis knew immediate action was necessary, but she also understood how dangerous the situation had become. If powerful individuals truly were manipulating evidence and covering up secrets, confronting them carelessly could place everyone involved at serious risk. Still, Alexis refused to let fear
Determined to
control
uncover
her.
the full truth, she quietly began conducting her own investigation. Using her legal connections and experience, Alexis searched for evidence supporting the claims Trina and Kai revealed. What she discovered only deepened her fears. Financial records had been altered, witness statements had disappeared, important case documents were missing entirely. The more Alexis uncovered, the clearer it became that someone had spent months carefully controlling information behind the scenes. This was not a spontaneous cover-up. It was a calculated operation designed to protect powerful people from exposure. As pressure mounted, tensions exploded between several residents throughout Port Charles. Longtime friendships suddenly became strained as suspicion spread from one person to another. No one knew exactly who could be trusted anymore. Then came another devastating discovery. Kai received an anonymous message warning him to stay quiet if he cared about protecting the people closest to him. The message contained details no stranger should have known, proving whoever sent it had been monitoring him closely. Fear immediately consumed both Kai and Trina. They realized the people behind the conspiracy were far more dangerous than they originally believed. Trina blamed herself for getting involved, but Alexis refused to let her carry that burden alone. Alexis reminded her that exposing corruption was the right thing to do, no matter how frightening the consequences became. Still, Alexis privately worried the situation might spiral beyond anyone's control. At the same time, new information continued surfacing. One hidden connection led to another until Alexis uncovered evidence tying multiple influential figures together. Business deals, personal rivalries, and buried scandals were all connected through a web of secrets stretching across Port Charles. Then Alexis made a shocking realization. The conspiracy may have been manipulating events far longer than anyone imagined. Suddenly, several mysterious incidents from the past took on new entire meaning. Alexis understood that many so-called accidents and misunderstandings may not have been accidents at all. The truth was darker than anyone expected. As Alexis prepared to expose what she uncovered, she arranged a private meeting with Trina and Kai to discuss their next steps. But before the meeting could happen, another terrifying twist changed everything. The original recording disappeared. Kai searched desperately through his phone and backup files, only to discover every copy had been deleted remotely. Panic spread instantly as they realized someone had gained access to private information. Worse still, Alexis received another warning message only moments later. Stop investigating before more damage is done. The threat sent chills through everyone involved. Now Alexis faced an impossible decision. She could walk away and protect herself along with Trina and Kai, or continue pushing forward despite the growing danger. But deep down, Alexis already knew she would never back down from the truth, not after everything they risked to reveal it. Determined to fight back, Alexis contacted trusted allies and quietly prepared for what could become one of the biggest scandals Port Charles had ever seen.
At the same time, Trina and Kai realized their lives might never return to normal after becoming involved in the conspiracy. The pressure strained their relationship as fear and uncertainty consumed nearly every conversation. Yet, despite everything, they remained united by one belief: the truth deserved to be exposed. As the investigation intensified, hidden enemies grew increasingly desperate to protect themselves. More secrets threatened to surface, and every new revelation pushed Port Charles closer to total chaos. Meanwhile, Alexis began suspecting there was still one major piece of the puzzle missing. Someone else was secretly controlling events from the shadows, manipulating everyone without being noticed. And if Alexis's suspicions were correct, the most dangerous betrayal had not even happened yet. By the end of the week, alliances would collapse, shocking confessions would emerge, and lives throughout Port Charles would change forever. Because once the horrifying truth finally came into the light, there would be no turning back. If you enjoyed this dramatic General Hospital-inspired story, make sure to like, subscribe, and share your theories about who is secretly behind the conspiracy. More shocking twists and emotional moments are coming soon.